Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on After GMS. It is Tuesday, June 21st. I'm Tracy McCain with Megan Milleris. We have meteorologist Ed Matthews and Christian Morgan here for this first day of summer.
Yeah, first day of astronomical summer, not feeling much like late June. I guess to our benefit because we're enjoying these refreshingly cooler mornings.
Yeah, you know, it's really not the temperature so much, it's the humidity that really makes all the difference, right? How many times a year do we say, oh, it's not the heat, it's the humidity? And really that's the case, but in a good way this time. Also, first things first, it is now officially summer as of 5:13 this morning. So cheer loudly. Yay. There we go. All right. It's officially summer. Thank you. Longest days in the northern hemisphere today, shorter days in the southern hemisphere as far as light goes. And actually there's 24 hours of light in the North Pole today, 24 hours of dark in the South Pole. We have about 14 hours and 36 minutes, a little over that, of daylight today. It is the longest daylight day of the year. And then slowly and surely, gradually, after today, things start to go the other way. Although it'll take a little while for you to notice that. It is very gradual. Of course, if you look out over the Piedmont right now, totally clear skies up in the mountains this morning. We're dealing with some high clouds, though, here in the Piedmont, thanks to a northerly flow on the eastern edge of high pressure. But I expect more of those clouds to give way and kind of free up this afternoon, so we'll have a little more sunshine for the afternoon. Mid-60s for most of us out the door right now. 65 Greensboro, 67 Winston-Salem, 62 High Point, 61 in Asheboro and in Siler City, 64 this morning in Lexington out the door right now. Here's the dew point map. This is why it feels so good. Mid-50s for dew point, still in that very comfortable range and really not humid even for our neighbors down to the south. There is some humidity building though out in the middle of the country, and I think really the reason that we're staying away from the humidity is because we do have that northerly flow off that high pressure. So we don't really have a south wind or a southeast wind to pull any moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico or off of the Atlantic. So we're staying humid free, at least for today and for tomorrow, although we'll start to build back as we go later in the week. High pressure will slide away from us. That will start to promote a southerly wind heading into tomorrow. Likely our warmest day of the week as we soar into the mid-90s for Wednesday. There will be a little area of low pressure, or a trough that we like to call it, swinging through the Piedmont tomorrow. That kind of acts as a little trigger, if you will, to pop off an isolated shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. And then a cold front gets closer to us on Thursday. That really is the focal point, or really makes Thursday our best day, best chance for showers and storms. Although notice it's pretty weak front. Behind there, there's still mid and upper 80s later in the week. So it's not very, not really a cold front, if you will. It's just a front. Upper in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we talked a lot about this last week. That big ridge of high pressure that promotes sinking air, warming air. It's a little further to our west right now, so that allows us to stay cool, and it never really builds back in full force across the Piedmont this week. So we're able to hover in the upper 80s to right around 90 for the majority of the week without getting crazy hot or crazy humid. There's your plan for today. Partly cloudy this morning, mostly sunny this afternoon as some of those high clouds start to clear out. We'll warm up into the mid and upper 80s for most folks, but still that low humidity makes all the difference. Not only in the way it feels today, but also in the amount that we're able to cool off overnight. So we'll see partly cloudy skies following falling into the low mid 60s by the time you wake up tomorrow. 90s, mid 90s for your Wednesday, but still not all that humid. Just a 20% chance of an isolated shower or storm in the afternoon. Better chance of that comes on Thursday as temperatures soar into the low 90s for Thursday. We'll be in the upper 80s, near 90, typical summertime stuff with partly cloudy skies and a low chance of a pop-up shower and storm each afternoon heading into the weekend.
Sorry. So last week I had strep throat, which is why I wasn't here Thursday and Friday, right? So the doctor was like, "Are you coughing?" I'm like, "No, my throat just hurts." And they're like, "You will. Here's a prescription for a cough syrup. Fill it when you start coughing." Of course, right now is when I start coughing. And I'm not even close to the pharmacy, so I'm sorry about that. I've taken every test in the world. I'm COVID free, so you don't have to worry about that. I just wanted to let you guys know that because I'm so transparent. Why? I don't know, but I am. Okay.
So fill that prescription.
Exactly. It's already written. I just have to.
There you go. All right. Well, maybe the cooler air will help refresh all of us today, the first day of summer season. Taking it easy on us for now, but we know that the heat will be back in full force in just a matter of days, weeks ahead. That hair days also are just a part of summer.
Yeah, just in time for picture day.
Right.
Which is happening. I know. All right, so our conversation on the Good Morning Show extends into after GMS. Do you enjoy the more comfortable mornings that we had over the weekend for Father's Day? And now the 90s that are coming back, which one do you prefer? The cooler mornings or the 90-degree temperatures? My mind is set already, but we'll read some of your responses. So one viewer said, "I love cool mornings, don't like waking up or sleeping and it being too hot and sticky." Agreed. Michael seems to be ready for the heat. He said, "I've waited for this all winter long." Wallington said, "I hate the humidity and love the cooler mornings. This is perfect weather."
Kim says, "I enjoy the spring and fall winter season. I love the sunshine, but not the heat and humidity." Paul Maydan says he's already ready for fall. He says the only good thing about summer was being a kid and getting out of school. And that was he put three O's there, long time ago. All right, Paul. Yes.
You might have some company with that comment. You know, I loved being out of school too. All right, Christian, get us started because, you know, we know that you love, you know, cooler temperatures, but you also love, you know, summertime. So
I do. You know, I'm fine with summer if it wants to say like this, you know. Yesterday and Sunday both were absolutely perfect in my book. You know, it's very comfortable in the afternoon. You know, again, that low humidity really makes all the difference in the way it feels. It feels so much hotter when the air is so thick. And if you remember last week, I mean, you walked outside and it just kind of, you know, washed over you. So really took advantage of the nice weather that we had this weekend. Sunday was beautiful. Yesterday was nice too with that low humidity. I would be fine keeping around the low humidity. I would be fine with a cool morning. I like to step outside and it be refreshing, and then a nice, comfy, warm afternoon. I'm fine with that, but I would be just totally okay if we did away with what we had last week.
Yeah. So I had a viewer on my page write that she's actually excited for the humidity to come back because it helps her arthritis. So, you know, take the good with the bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it helps my eyes. I have chronic dry eye, and so the moist air helps them. I mean, it's horrible in the wintertime, just they're so dry. So I know some of you are having problems with seeing the comments again, as are we. If you reply to our comments, that might be a workaround, because I'm seeing Bobby who wrote, "I love the cooler mornings, especially when working outside." And so you can try to weigh in that way. We know several of you are tuning in, but Facebook glitching again. Mark Zuckerberg did not hear our concerns yesterday.
You told him, Ed Matthews. You told him. We also have some comments from Belinda Milton, said comfortable temperatures, please. And Teresa Gregory Walter said, no to humidity. I love the warm sun, though, she said. So, Ed, you know, we talk about this all the time, how humidity makes such a big difference. And if it doesn't, you know, change your mind about summer in North Carolina, humidity is just awful.
Well, it seems like the heat and humidity go together, although, as Christian and I have been telling you this morning, a little bit of a lag in it getting real muggy again this week, although the temperatures are moving upward. That humidity will be back in full force for sure by the weekend with higher dew points. I tell you, gang, if you remember what we had this weekend, and how could you forget how great the weather felt? If we could have that year round, I would be happy. I refer to the weekend weather that we had as San Diego weather. Now, for those of you that have ever been to San Diego, you know what I'm talking about. Very dry air, temperatures run generally between 80 and 85, especially pretty close to the coast. So it was definitely San Diego weather this past weekend. I absolutely love it. I don't mind 90-degree heat, but there's absolutely no reason, no benefit for us to be in the mid and upper 90s and with the humidity being so high. I can't think of a single benefit. Well, maybe arthritis, that's a new one on me. If that helps arthritis, I guess that's one good thing, but it's the humidity. I just can't stand high humidity.
Yeah.
It's funny. Ed and I were talking during the show this morning. I had a lot of folks reach out to me and say, when are we going to hit 100? And if you go back and look at the
100.
Yeah, we're going to hit 100. I'm serious. When you go back and look at the data, Ed and I were talking about this morning. The setup, honestly, has to be just right for us to get 100 degrees around here. I think the last time we hit over 100 degrees was back in, it might have been 2012 or 2013, I think, when the airport recorded 102. But the setup has to be just right for us. And if that pattern had stuck around longer, like we had last week, we probably could have got up to 100 degrees. But it is actually pretty hard for us to get 100 degrees around here because, in part, most of the time when you get a Bermuda high pressure system to set up, that's when we have all that heat and all that humidity building in from the south. Once you push in all the humidity, it's really hard to warm the air up once there's so much moisture in it. So it's pretty hard for us to get up to 100 degrees. Of course, as you know, we have several days in the low mid 90s, but for the most part, that's typically where we hover. We have our hottest days.
All right, so our producer is tracking some of the comments which are coming in here on our feed. As we explained, we're having some technical issues seeing the comments, but Joanne apparently wrote she likes a variety, which is what we have here in North Carolina. Very true. Melody said she enjoys cool mornings, low humidity, and wishes it could stay this way. Ramona says cooler mornings, of course, are the preferred, and Rhonda agrees. Coffee on deck. Shanika said, love the cool mornings, great for morning workouts, despises the humidity, but likes a little warmth.
Definitely some varying opinions here. We appreciate you weighing in. Wish we could, reply back and like your comments as we always do, but as they work things out, we'll work with it here on After GMS.
All right, so let's get to our morning headlines, catch you up to speed on what's going on in your community. Gas prices remain at record levels nationwide, but they are falling a bit here in the Triad. Drivers in our state paying $4.61 on average. Guilford County drivers about $4.60. Caswell County still has some of the highest local prices at $4.71. Yadkin County drivers are paying the least at $4.53. Because there are so many factors playing a role in gas prices, Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy said he does not think this temporary price drop will last this summer. A traffic alert here, or an update for you. Part of Highway 220 south in Greensboro has reopened this morning after a crash closed it yesterday. Police say a tractor trailer flipped on the road during the evening rush hour between I-40 East and Creek Ridge Road. No one was hurt, thankfully. The road closed for a few hours and is now back open.
Governor Roy Cooper is vaccinated and boosted against COVID, but we learned yesterday he tested positive for the virus. He says he's feeling fine and has mild symptoms. Governor Cooper says he's going to work from home this week following CDC guidelines, and he's also taking Paxlovid, a COVID antiviral treatment made by Pfizer. Children as young as 6 months will now have better protection against COVID-19. WFMY News 2's Itinius McMiller has where parents can find the shot right here in the Triad.
A new poll shows that less than 20% of parents plan to vaccinate their young kids right away. But a different turnout is expected here at Adler Pharmacy in Greensboro. The pharmacist tells me that people have been calling them for the past 2 weeks back to back, asking when they will get the vaccine for kids under the age of 5. The pharmacist at Adler says he was excited to get a notification from his supplier that they'll get a shipment of about 200 Pfizer vaccines today. It's a 3-dose series, meaning there's at least a 2-month gap between the first and third dose. The pharmacist at Adler says once he gets his shipment, appointments and walk-ins will be allowed.
We will have a little bit of presents for kids. So what we do is that normally after administering the vaccine, we give them something to chew on or to suck on or something like that, just to make sure they feel comfortable.
While Adler plans to get their vaccines today, Cone Health Med Center in High Point was one of the first in the country to receive vaccines yesterday. About 700 of Moderna's two-shot series vaccines rolled in. Medical professionals say both vaccines are effective, but it's up to parents to decide which is best for their child. But where a kid can get the vaccine depends on their age.
3 years old and younger will be required to be vaccinated by a pediatric specialist, so a pediatric nurse or a pediatric physician. And that's different than the ages 4 and up. So if there were any type of medical attention would be needed, we would want them to be in the hands of people who are already trained for this particular age group.
And Cone Health says that they plan to have information up on their website for when folks can go ahead and make those appointments to get vaccinated later this week. And I reached out to several local Triad pharmacies. Some of them say they will receive their shipments later this week, and others say they don't plan to vaccinate younger kids. So it's best to call your pharmacy ahead of time before showing up.
And we're going to see a nice day in the Piedmont. Humidity and dew points are still fairly low, even though we're cranking up the heat a little bit on our way to the upper 80s to near 90. A little extra cloud cover this morning, but overall kind of a mix of sun and high clouds. Tomorrow even hotter, 94. But again, the humidity stays in check tomorrow. So 94 is going to feel like 94. 91 on Thursday will bring in a 40% afternoon storm chance with the approach of a cold front. I don't see that front going through. It'll probably just dissipate right over our area. So Friday and the weekend, upper 80s for high temperatures, and just an ongoing 30% chance of a pop-up storm each afternoon. That'll be the case right on through the weekend. Overall, weekend's looking good for your outdoor plans.
As long as it's nice on the weekend.
Yes.
And we're okay.
You've had a good track record lately, making for some great weekends. Last weekend's going to be hard to top, but we'll see what we can do.
We'll try.
All right, thanks for joining us on After GMS. We will see you right back here tomorrow with more great conversations and a few funny moments too, I'm sure. No more strep throat, I hope.
Get out there and get to it. Have a great day.
See you.